my divine, infinite human being family. I'm here waiting for my couscous lunch that I ordered in Marcela de Vallo. And I thought I'd take a pause from my metaphysical discourses that I'm always having and just tell you why I live in Italy and why I love Italy. Now, if you know me, I'm Elizabeth Monroy. I'm the author of The Infinite Human that pretty much points out, all the problems of 3D Earth. So no matter where you are, we are still, very much in 3D Earth and becoming the co-creators of the new infinite Earth. But in terms of living in 3D Earth, I chose Italy because I think it's one of the best places to live in a fallen planet. One, because first of all, everyone knows it's fallen here. If they're not living under this mind control illusion like many Americans, and I'm an American living in Italy, that everything's great, everything's perfect. They're an ancient culture. You drive around, there's potholes, there's, you know, thousands and thousands of year old palazzos, apartment buildings, palazzos, palaces, ruins, temples that are just falling to pieces, and people live in it. They live in it. Why? They live in ancient Rome. They just keep living. They've lived there for thousands upon thousands of years, and they sweep aside some of the rubble and keep on going, which I think is very admirable when you live in a broken finite earth. So I learned a lot from them because they don't, coming from America, I kind of grew up, with this red, white, and blue, and we're the best country on the planet, and we're the bravest, home of the free, and all this uncontrolled garbage that was stuffed down my throat. And I bought it until I was 19, and I got to go abroad and see how the rest of the world lives. And although our, our country always looks so beautiful with its escalators and its new, chrome buildings and all the shiny new cars. And at that time, the roads didn't have as many potholes. And, growing up in the 70s and 80s, everything was new, so, and everyone was buying into this American dream. And I just began to realize living in a culture where people, everyone's Catholic, but very few even go to church. And, everyone, the government would fall every other week, so nobody really gave much credence into the government. And, I really got a sense of not putting my faith, in all these systems because, they've been around for thousands of years and they've risen and fell and risen and fallen. And, the ancient Romans, of course, were the number one, numero uno on the planet for a while. And, they fell. And, it just put things into perspective, into a much broader perspective. And a lot of the history couldn't be hidden because it was right there in front of you. People would start digging and they'd find an ancient mosaic or, you can't hide history. So when you live in such an old place, although Americans have done a great job with hiding it. So that's one of the reasons I love it because, in the winter, for example, Italians are very, I think they're colder than Anglos, and they wrap up in black and gray all winter long, and they look at me if I walk around like this saying, aren't you cold? And then when summer comes, they're very conservative. If you go to the churches, you have to cover your shoulders or wear long skirts. And then summer comes and they're all riding around on the back of motorcycles with their culos hanging out, walking around town, with their bras and, their cleavage. And so, it's a city of contrast. And I like that when you're living in the finite world of duality because you see the dark and the light, the chiaro and scuro right in front of you. And it makes me appreciate it, instead of being like, oh, everything has to look just so perfect. And I call that, sweeping the dark side under the carpet and spiritually bypassing. So that's one of the main reasons. Plus the food. And they're very grounded people, and they're very much into like their food, and they have a time for everything. They start their day later, and they wake up and they have like their coffee and their sweet or whatever. And it's a time for that. And then they go to their work, and they'll work from maybe 10 to 1, and then they stop and they have a nice lunch. Right now, I'm in a place where everyone's having their lunch, and they have their dolce vita, their art of living, and with their first course, their second course, and then they oh, here's my lunch. Oh, grazie. Okay, it's
Do,
here.
do you want a chili, madam?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lo faccio io.
Come on. You have chili inside the kitchen. Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna go and eat, but they also have a time for everything. Then after lunch, they have their siesta. Then they have their dinner.
A little.
Oh, okay, grazie. And then they have their dinner. They have their evening walk around. And they're very grounded in the moment. And they also have a saying called "dolce far niente," and it's sweet to do nothing. So, they seem to be able to position themselves in time, moment to moment, with each thing that they do on a developmental basis. So those are just a few reasons I love Italy. Ciao for now.